Do you recall your deposition?
Yes, sir.
Did you testify about that $2 million offer during the course of your deposition?
No, sir, it wasn't asked about.
It wasn't asked? Do I take it to understand that when people are trying to learn the truth about a matter and you're at a deposition, you see it as your Hippocratical oath, doctor? Is that what it is? That you only respond?
Your Honor, he's badgering the witness using the Hippocratical oath. He's obviously trying to influence the jury because she's a doctor. And I think that's uncalled for.
You are a doctor, aren't you, sir? Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
That question was asked and answered on our direct.
Mr. Flanagan, please ask
Doctor,
questions directly.
what oath is it that you take that causes you not to tell at a deposition about something, quotes, as critical as this?
Your Honor, objection. He is again referring to the Hippocratic Oath, which is totally irrelevant in this case. It deals with the ethics of a medical doctor.
Sustained, Mr. Nelson.
That wasn't the question, Judge. You should listen carefully. I asked this doctor under what oath she thinks she can refrain from disclosing information at a deposition when it's as serious as the allegation now made.
Mr. Flanagan, you're being argumentative with the witness.
I am.
Show in the deposition that the question was directly asked to her. It's well known that counsel will ask questions at a deposition and parties need only respond to questions asked.
Doctor, you didn't testify about the $2 million quotes offer, did you? At the deposition?
No, sir.
And why didn't you, doctor?
Because my attorney told me to answer the questions that were asked, and nothing more.
I see. Do you think it's important that this jury should know about a $2 million offer on that farm?
Yes, I do.
Do you think it's important?
Yes.
And you're here to tell them today that it's important. Is that your testimony, doctor?
I'm here today to tell them that it is a fact that that offer was made.
I see. Then I assume you'll bring in the person who's made that offer to testify during the course of this trial, won't you, doctor?
That's up to my attorney.
Up to your lawyer, I see. Doctor, you don't have any helpless qualities, do you?
No, sir.
Your brother got them all.
I don't think my brother has many helpless qualities, Mr. Flanagan.
Doctor, that's your testimony. You just told this jury that he is helpless.
I said
he
he's-
has a helpless quality. Didn't you tell the jury that?
I said he exhibits a helpless quality
Exhibits a helpless quality, right.
towards
You-
my mother.
You don't exhibit such a helpless quality.
No, I don't.
You've never had that problem.
No, I haven't.
He's had employment problems.
Yes?
You've never had those problems.
No, I have not.
Zipped straight through the University of Michigan with your mother footing the bill.
My mother paid for what my scholarships did not pay for and what I didn't earn working summers.
7 years in school, paid for by your mother. Isn't that true, doctor?
My mother helped pay for my schooling. I had academic scholarships also.
And you weren't helpless, so you were flying through without any difficulties.
I wouldn't say that. No one flies through college or medical school.
I see, doctor. And then you flew out to Colorado once you got your practice and your specialty in dermatology. Is that true?
I went to Colorado to be married.
To be married. I see, doctor. You didn't go to Colorado because that's where the money is in the medical profession in dermatology?
No, sir, that's where my fiance was.
Doctor, isn't that where the rich are? Isn't that where a dermatologist practice
Objection, Your Honor. This
operates?
is totally irrelevant. What does that have to do with the issue at hand? Absolutely nothing.
Sustained.
Doctor, why did you go to Colorado?
I was going out to meet my fiancé to be married out there.
I see. And you're now out there just giving your services away to the poor and helpless, aren't you?
I did not say I was giving my services away. I am serving the poor and helpless.
Doctor,
yes.
you're only making a paltry $70,000 a year before taxes. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say that's paltry.
That's your testimony, isn't it?
I said that was approximately what I earned.
Doctor, at your deposition, you said it was $75,000, didn't you?
I may have.
Doctor, you made an allegation in your complaint that your brother had told your mother that you were earning $200,000 a year. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't that one of your claims of how he unduly influenced your mother?
Yes.
And doctor, isn't it also true at the deposition that when I asked you about whether or not you told your mother what you in fact earned, you never ever once in her lifetime told her the kind of money you earned?
That's correct. I did not tell her.
You never disputed the $200,000 you claim your brother said you made.
I couldn't bear to see her know that he lied to her again.
I see, doctor. So you kept your mother in the dark then? Is that what you want this jury to believe?
No, I want this jury to believe that I did not think it was worth contradicting what my brother said, since I didn't have any money difficulties.
Doctor, the question was asked and you gave the answer that you never told your mother what you in fact earned as a doctor. Isn't that true, sir? Or ma'am?
That's true.
You also told us at that deposition that your mother was concerned because your brother had been unemployed for about 9 months.
Yes.
You didn't testify at that deposition that he'd been unemployed his entire lifetime, did you?
No.
He had employment and lost it.
He had had sporadic employment and lost it, yes.
And that probably went along with his helpless quality, didn't it, doctor?
It may have.
Your mother was fully aware of your brother's shortcomings, wasn't she?
Oh, yes.
Don't you think your mother would want to make sure your brother was cared for?
I'm sure Mother wanted to make sure that he was cared for, yes.
And she knew you were cared for. Doctor, you've got that license that causes you to make fortunes, if you wish. Isn't that true?
I have the license, yes.
And that causes you in the medical profession to make fortunes. Isn't that true, doctor?
Some professionals with a license like that make fortunes.
Yeah. You could leave the clinic and go out and hang up a private practice shingle and quadruple your income,
This
couldn't you,
is
doctor?
totally speculative in nature. Has nothing to do, again, with the nature of this issue.
I think it does, Judge. It goes to the intent of the testator, and she knew her daughter had it put together.
Your Honor,
Objection overruled.
Thank you. Doctor, you could make 4 times $70,000 if you chose to with that specialty in dermatology. Isn't that what dermatologists are making today, presently? Average?
I don't know.
You don't read the literature, doctor?
Not that part of it.
Would it surprise you, doctor, if I told you the average income for a physician in the state of Michigan is $240,000?
No, probably not.
You wouldn't take exception with that.
No.
And doctor, would you agree that the income for a physician in Colorado is even higher than the 240?
I don't know.
I guess, doctor, the only thing you and I can agree upon is that your brother was in fact a help to his mother. And he was a help all of her life, wasn't he, doctor?
He was there all of her life, yes.
You testified that he helped your mother. Do you want to retract that statement now? I
No.
beg your pardon?
No, I do not.
And your mother had absolute confidence in your brother?
Yes, she did. Misplaced though it may have been.
Misplaced in your eyes. Because he didn't have the gear that you've got. Is that what you mean, Doctor?
Misplaced because he had a habit of lying to her or
I see.
coloring facts, as in telling her I made $200,000 a year.
I see, but you didn't even bother to correct your mother about that issue.
I
You
didn't.
let that lie sit there without telling your mother the truth.
Yes, I did.
You let it sit there
I certainly did. Why on
Well,
earth would I have
to
wanted to
protect-
hurt her anymore?
to protect your lying brother.
No, to protect my mother.
I see. I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson?
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Flanagan questioned you with regards to the sources of the income for your education. And you stated to this court that you had scholarships and that you worked also, and that your mother assisted you. How much of your education would you say was provided for by your mother?
Probably, maybe 25%, and that was by my mother and father. He was alive then and working. But they had both told my brother and I both that we could go as far as we wanted to in school.
So that this educational opportunity was there just as equally for your brother as it was for you. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. They said that they would be more than happy to help us both through school, as far as we wanted to go. He chose not to take that education any farther than he did.
And what was that? What sort of education did he receive?
He went through high school and decided to be a mechanic, and he had some specialty classes after that, and then training classes, but I don't know that he even ever finished them.
So that he, in fact, never went as far as you did in your education, is that correct?
That's correct.
And did he have the same opportunity you did?
Money-wise, he certainly had the same opportunity.
Mr. Flanagan questioned you with regards to your income and the fact that you operate a clinic in Colorado. How did you become involved with the clinic?
Well, when I first originally went to Colorado, as I said, I had gone out there because my fiancé was out there. Unfortunately, before the wedding, he was killed in a ski accident. He had had a clinic out there. That's why I was going out there. So I took over the clinic that he had started.
How did you come to own the clinic?
He left it to me.
He left it to you in his
Yes.
estate?
Yes, it was, at that time, it was a very small beginning clinic. It was operated out of a storefront.
So it really consisted of one small building?
Yes.
Did you own the building?
No, it was rented.
When was it exactly that you heard that Charles had told your mother about how much your income was?
Oh, that's hard to pinpoint. I know that through the years, I think she has made reference to the fact that Charlie says that you're doing so well and that you're making this or that. I think that the $200,000 figure came up maybe 6 months ago.
Okay. How often do you discuss your income with other people?
I don't.
Have you discussed your income with Charles?
No?
Is he your next closest relative to you from your mother?
Yes.
And of course, you did not discuss your income with your mother?
No, I did not.
Have you discussed your income with any other relative?
Other than to tell Mom that I was doing fine and not to worry about me and sending money home to her monthly to help out with some of her bills. No, I've never discussed my income with her.
So in other words, in your opinion, it's nobody's business how much you make. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions of this witness.
Doctor, your mother had full confidence that you would go on through your life and do very well without any assistance from her. Isn't that true?
She kept asking me every time I talked to her if I needed any help.
And you always told her that you didn't,
That's correct, I did.
that you were well off,
I
that you were
told
doing
her
well.
that I was managing quite well, thank
That's
you.
right. So she was certain about your future in life without her financial assistance. Isn't that true?
I guess so.
She didn't have that same confidence in your brother Charlie, did she?
She had confidence in Charlie to help her out. For some reason, she didn't have the same confidence that he could take care of himself.
Well, there were some reasons for that, weren't there? I mean, Charlie had some problems in his life.
Charlie
he
had
had
some problems.
despondency.
Yes.
He had difficulty in school, right?
Charlie didn't make good grades in school, but
I
I
see.
don't know that it was difficulty
Oh.
in school.
That was because he didn't try, in your opinion, right, Doctor?
In the expert's opinion who tested him, Charlie's
see.
IQ was fine.
I see, Doctor. And he washed out of the seminary for the same reason. Is that true,
Your
Doctor?
Honor, objection. This is cross-examination. This was not discussed on direct. It's totally new information, Your Honor.
I'm redirecting along his line of redirects. I'm cross-examining on his redirect, Judge.
I asked, in no way did I ever question her about his seminary education.
He just went through his education with him. Because he chose to leave out one part of his education, I'm going to bring that to the jury's attention.
I'm going to allow you to proceed, Mr. Fleming.
He washed out of the seminary too, right, Doctor?
He left the seminary, that's
He
all I
washed out
know.
of the seminary. They asked him to leave.
I don't know why he left.
I see. You don't know why there.
No.
Okay. He was a guy who didn't really have it put together. And your mother knew that, didn't she?
I think she assumed that.
And that's why she chose to do what she did, isn't it? I have nothing further.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You may be excused.
Am I free to call the witnesses, Your Honor?
You are?
If I may, I'd like to call Dorothy Smith.
Raise your right hand, please. This proceeding, you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Seated, please.
Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Dorothy Smith, 125 Rural Lane, Yale, Michigan.
Okay. Is it Miss Smith or Mrs. Smith?
Ms. Smith.
Ms. Smith. How long did you know Mary Minkle?
Oh, we've been neighbors for about 10 years.
Okay, so that you're on the adjacent farm?
I live kitty corner from Mary.
Okay, and how often did you see Mary, say, over the last couple of years?
Oh, I'd see her once every week, maybe once every 2 weeks.
And on what occasion would it be that you would run into Mary?
Well, I would usually go to her house because it was more convenient for me to go over there than for her to come through my house.
Okay, and at the time you were over there, what occurred?
We'd have coffee and we'd chat about our families and, newspaper items and soap operas, girl stuff.
Generally speaking, how would you describe Mary Minkle's demeanor in those last few visits prior to her death?
Well, I went over there on January 18th, and I remember this because Mary was crying, and this was very odd for Mary to be out of sorts. And I asked her what was the matter, and she proceeded to tell me that 2 days prior she'd gone seen a lady lawyer who did up a will for her.
Did a will for her?
That's what she said.
Did she tell you why she went to see the attorney to have a will drawn up?
Well, she had read a lot in the newspapers about getting your affairs in order, and she thought it would be time for her to get her affairs in order.
Did she feel as though she had to get her affairs in order?
Well, I think she just thought it'd be a good idea so she could get it off of her mind.
Get exactly what off of her mind?
So her estate would be taken care of once she passed on. She was real lonely for her husband.
Well, I understand that. But did she give you any particular reason why at this particular time she wanted to have a will drawn up?
No, I think she saw the advertisement on TV for the free legal aid clinic, so she went to see that lady lawyer there.
Sure it wasn't a 1995 will kit?
I don't think so.
Oh. Did she, during that meeting, describe to you any interaction that she'd had with her son, Charles?
No, she just told me that when she went to see the lawyer that she left everything to Charlie.
Did she by any chance take you upstairs to show you Charles' bedroom?
Yes, and there was a big hole in the ceiling.
Did she tell you how that hole got there?
She said that a gun went off. Charlie said it was an accident, but there was a hole clean through that ceiling.
Did she feel it had been an accident?
Well, she wasn't sure because she just thought Charlie had more experience with guns.
Was Charles, to your knowledge, a hunter?
Well, I seen him out there hunting on the property. He'd bring home a pheasant, and once in a while she'd invite me over for dinner to share it with her.
Did she indicate to you some concerns about this discharge, accidental discharge of the shotgun?
Well, Charlie had been down in the dumps, and she was afraid that he might have been trying to kill himself.
Did she indicate that to you?
She said she was afraid he'd take his own life.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Flanagan.
Mrs. Smith, do you remember your deposition?
Ms. Smith.
I beg your pardon?
Ms. Smith.
Ms. Smith? Do you remember your deposition?
Vaguely.
Mary told you that her son had told her that he had accidentally discharged the gun while cleaning it,
Right.
didn't you testify to that?
Right.
You also testified at the time of your deposition that you thought Charles was an expert with guns. Was that something that Mary said her son was an expert?
Mary had relayed that to me, yes.
She thought her son was an expert with guns.
She seems to think that, yes.
And you went to the bedroom and saw the hole in the ceiling that this gun had left.
Big hole.
You never talked with Charles about what happened, did you?
No, Charlie was usually out when I would go visit Mary.
So there was never any discussion with him concerning that issue?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Maybe excuse me.
Your Honor, at this time, the contestant would like to call Frank Shelby.
In this proceeding, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Can you please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Frank Shelby. I live at 390 Yale Road, Yale, Michigan.
Are you also a neighbor of the decedent, or were you?
Well, I live a little farther down the street, I'd say mile or mile and a half, but I'm her nephew.
So that you're also related by blood to the decedent?
That's right, I was her nephew.
Are you an interested party in any way in this estate under the terms of the will, purported will?
No, not at all.
Okay. When was the last time that you saw your aunt, Mary?
I think it was probably about 6 weeks or so before she passed away, sometime in February.
Can you tell me what the reason was, why you went to see your aunt at that time?
Well, the one time I remember for certain I had seen Miss Smith at the market, and she indicated to me that maybe I ought to stop by and look in on my aunt. I used to do that once a month, or every once in a while I'd just stop in and chat with her for a little bit. Other than her son, I'm only, I think, only relative, we're right around that area. So I'd seen Miss Smith, and she just thought that maybe I'd want to stop in and see her.
So you were a semi-regular visitor once a month?
Well, once a month, yeah.
Okay. Were you familiar with the regular household residents?
Oh, yeah.
Was Charles a regular household resident?
Oh, yeah, he pretty much lived there.
Did anyone else live there besides Charles and his mother?
Not after John passed away, no.
When you went to see your aunt, did she by any chance happen to relate an incident regarding a shotgun hole in the ceiling to you?
Well, yeah, she sure did. She took me up and showed it to me, and she kind of explained that she was concerned that Charlie may have tried to kill himself, and that's what happened. He missed or something.
How well do you know Charlie?
Oh, well, we've known each other well, pretty much all our lives. We go hunting together and things like that.
So that you've hunted with Charlie
Oh, sure, we go hunting a couple times a year.
a couple times a year? How would you describe Charles' hunting ability?
Oh, he's a good hunter.
Is he a good shot?
Sure.
Does he usually get more birds than you do, or?
Everybody gets more than I do.
Okay, so that's not qualifying him as an expert then?
No, but he's pretty good shot. He is.
Okay. Did she indicate to you any reaction on the part of Charles, how he had been feeling at the time with regards to, say, his future or what was going on with him?
Well, she talked about that at different times. Charlie, is a good friend of mine, but he has always been kind of bit of a complainer, I think. And his mom took that pretty seriously, I guess, as a mom would.
You being a hunter, are you familiar with a double-barreled shotgun?
Sure.
How does a double-barreled shotgun operate?
Well,
Does it have hammers that pull back?
sure.
Okay. And when you clean a shotgun, do you usually pull those hammers back to clean the shotgun?
Well, yeah, you got to pretty much break it down to clean it good, but I don't think that anybody. Well, Charlie's a good enough hunter and a gunsman that he wouldn't have had a loaded gun lying around for any circumstances. I mean, if he was going to pick up a gun to clean it, he knew how to take care of his weapons, and it would have been broken down and empty. There wouldn't have been any ammunition in it.
Have you ever known Charles to accidentally discharge his firearm when you were out hunting with him?
No, he is a very careful hunter. Very careful hunter. Didn't even load his weapon till we get to the blind or anything like that. He knew how to handle guns.
Did Charles's mother Mary ever say to you on this particular occasion that she felt that Charles had tried to kill himself?
Well, yeah, she did. She was concerned about that, and that's why she took me up there to show it to me, and then she showed me the gun at the same time. It was in the closet, and I guess she kind of wanted to know what my opinion on it was.
Did you tell her?
Well, I told her the same thing, that I thought Charlie knew how to handle guns, and I didn't think there was any chance that that was anything other than
Did she display to you some obvious concern over Charlie's well-being?
Oh, she was
state of
always concerned about Charlie and talked about it a lot. And I think she took his complaint into heart, pretty much. I mean, she was a concerned kind of a mom, and she was always worried about him.
How would you describe Charlie's actions towards his mother? Was he a caring son?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so.
Did he help her around the house?
He did whatever needed doing, and was always pretty much there for her whenever anything had to be done, and he was pretty much around the last couple of years full time, especially since the old man died.
Since the old man died, then she pretty well relied on him.
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Mr. Shelby, your cousin's always been honest with you, hasn't he?
Oh, sure, pretty much.
You fellas about the same age?
Pretty close.
Were you in seminary together?
Well, I used to go up there and visit him. I was never really interested in that kind of stuff.
Were you fellows in high school together?
Oh, yeah.
Did he have trouble in school, academically?
Well, I don't know if he felt that was the most important thing. I don't. He wasn't at the top of the class or anything.
He wasn't sliding through school on his wit, was he?
Well, I don't know. I don't think getting A's was important to Charlie, really.
How about your cousin Betty?
Oh, she got. I don't think she ever got anything but an A.
Okay. A double-barreled 12-gauge shotgun, sir. breaks at the breech and loads with 2 shells, closes at the breech, and the hammers are internal, aren't they?
Right. I'm sorry, I
They're
misspoke
not.
myself.
They're not outside hammers.
No, right.
Like flintlocks.
No.
This particular gun, sir, didn't have outside flintlock
Oh,
hammers. did it?
heck, I remember looking at it. No, I don't think so. It was,
Let's make sure we get this absolutely correct, okay? Empty guns kill people, don't they? Haven't you heard that statement, sir?
well, I've heard it, yeah.
Sure, it's the empty gun that kills. It's the empty gun that goes off and discharges through the roof.
Well,
The one you least expect to be loaded goes off because you think it's empty.
if you're trying to say mistakes happen, I certainly agree.
It's the empty gun that shoots the hole in the ceiling. Isn't that true, sir?
well, not if it's really empty, but if you're trying to say that mistakes happen, that's
Shelby, you're a hunter. You kill pheasant, you kill rabbit, you kill duck,
right,
and you use a 12-gauge shotgun.
right.
You know what that 12-gauge does at 1 foot out of the barrel?
Right. I make it my business to know when my gun's loaded and when it's not. That's
So you've ever watched the pattern come out of your shotgun, and it's this big around?
right.
And if you had it aimed at your head, it'd be hard to miss, wouldn't it?
Well, I guess, yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of a suicide that you'd have to be really doing something weird to miss.
Yeah, I guess if that's what I don't know much about suicide or anything like that.
Well, it isn't quite correct that your aunt said to you that he had tried to kill himself. I look back in your deposition, and your aunt thought he, quotes, may have tried.
Well, I think that's why she took me up there and showed me the hole in the gun. And she was worried that that's what that problem was.
She was fearful that could be the case.
Yeah, she's always kind of afraid of that. I think Betty mentioned that he, kind of messed up when he was a teenager and
Okay.
tried something. So I think his mom was always kind of had that in the back of her mind.
You asked Charles about it, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
And he told you no way.
Well, he said it was accidental.
And you've told me earlier when we first started out, he's been truthful with you.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Very briefly, Mr. Shelby. Mr. Flanagan just described for you how a double-barreled shotgun breaks down at the breech,
Yeah?
indicating that at the time what happens is the hammers are cocked within the receiver, and then it's locked back into place, and so the hammers are ready to fire. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you own a double-barrel shotgun, Mr. Shelby?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And when you clean your double-barrel shotgun, do you attempt to clean the double-barreled shotgun with the breech closed or open?
Well, it's had to be open.
It's got to be open.
Right.
It's impossible to clean it otherwise, is it not?
Right.
And when it's open, are the hammers cocked?
Well, they're in the other part of the gun, but you could certainly see if it was loaded or anything, the shells would be right there.
But if it was breeched and opened, would it be able to fire?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Shelby, since I'm not sure about the juror's expertise with shotguns, and I want to be definitely clear about this, you agree with me that it's the loaded gun that often kills someone, the unloaded gun that often kills someone.
Well,
Isn't that true, sir?
I guess I'm a little confused when you say that. I mean,
Well-
I keep saying that if you're trying to say that accidents are what kill people, yeah, I agree with you.
And you have read about people picking up guns, aiming them at their buddy, and squeezing them off because they thought they were empty, and they killed their friend.
They
right?
thought they were in, right. That's the accident,
Okay.
right.
A
Careless.
12-gauge shotgun
Right,
that's got the breech closed on it.
right.
There is no way to know whether it's loaded or unloaded.
I'd agree with
You
that.
must break open the 12-gauge to look to see if there's ammunition in it.
Right?
Thank you.
No further questions.
Any excuse?
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to call Thomas Shelby. However, Mr. Shelby is not available. However, we do have a deposition which was taken under oath. And at this time, the opposing counsel has no objection. I would like to move for the admission of this deposition. We have discussed this at a sidebar with regards to objection of counsel concerning some of the deposition. And I believe those issues have been resolved at this time. So I would like to move for its admission, if we may read the deposition into the record.
Flanagan?
No objection other than those already made to the record.
Yes, which you will adhere to.
Yes, I will. Your Honor, at this time, we are reading into the record the deposition of the testimony of Thomas Shelby that was taken on Tuesday, October 29th, 1991, in sworn testimony regarding the estate of Minkle. I will read for myself, Your Honor, and if you would give your name for the record, please.
My name?
Yes.
Karen Strode.
Karen Stroh will read for Mr. Shelby. Okay. First question begins. Would you please state your full name for the record, spelling your last name?
Thomas Shelby, S-H-E-L-B-Y.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby. What is your relationship to the decedent, Mrs. Minkle?
I am her brother-in-law.
And are you the father of Frank Shelby?
Yes, I am.
Did you have occasion on or about February 15th, 1991 to visit with Mary Minkle?
Yes, I did.
What was your reason for visiting her on that occasion?
I went by to see what assistance I could give her concerning her affairs.
Was there anything that prompted you to make that visit?
Yes, my son, Frank, had told me that he visited Mary earlier that month, and I thought she might need some guidance and advice, or just someone to talk to.
What, if anything, did Mary tell you on that occasion concerning Charles Minkle?
She said that Charles had tried to kill himself, and that she felt that he would follow through and commit suicide unless she consented to leave the farm and everything to him in her will.
Had she done so?
I'm going to object to the question phrased that way. He was not in a position to know whether she had executed such a will or not.
I can rephrase it easily enough. Mr. Shelby, did Mary Minkle on that occasion tell you whether she had in fact made out and or executed a will leaving everything to Charles?
She told me that she had visited an attorney who helped her make out and sign a last will and testament to the effect of leaving everything to Charles.
Was that the extent of your conversation with Mrs. Minkle on that occasion concerning the will?
Pretty much, except that she told me that since she had signed the last will and testament, and since Charles had seen a copy of it, he hadn't seemed to be so despondent anymore. The last thing Mary told me that day was that Charles had wanted the farm because Betty is already set in life. After that, I left.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby. No further questions. Mr. Flanagan?
I have no additional questions for Mr. Shelby.
Thank you for coming. I move for the admission of this deposition.
Mr. Flanagan?
No objection.
Shall be received.
Thank you. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to call Flaminia Everglade, Mary's attorney.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Would you please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Philomena Everglade. I live at 2020 Martin Street, St. Clair Shores.
Philomena?
Right,
Excuse me.
that's okay.
Were you acquainted with the decedent?
Yes, I was.
And how did you become acquainted with the decedent?
I work at Legal Assistance of St. Clair County, and she called our office and asked to have a will made.
And did she in fact come in to see you?
Yes, she did. She came into our office in the beginning of January, and she asked for me to prepare a will for her.
And at that time you met with her?
I met with her, and I went through the procedure, asking her questions, and I prepared her last will and testament.
What sort of questions did you ask her at that time?
I asked her what her estate consisted of, her property, did she have a car, her real estate, bank accounts, checking accounts, savings accounts. any relatives alive.
Did she indicate to you what relatives she had that were alive?
Her husband was dead, she informed me, and she had 2 children.
Okay, and did she give you the names of those children?
Charles and Betty, I believe.
And after you had discussed this with her, did you then ask her how she wished to have her will drafted?
Yes, I did. She informed me that she wanted everything to go to Charles, and I asked her why, and she, nothing to Betty, you have to, find out someone, and she said that,
Excuse me, I didn't hear that
she had to
response.
I have to find out why she doesn't, give certain things away, and she said that, Charles told her that, Betty makes I asked her about Betty, and she said that Betty made $200,000 a year, and that Charles was unemployed, and she wanted to make sure that he was taken care of.
Okay. And did you, in fact, prepare a will at that initial meeting?
At that date, it was a simple will, one page, very simple. So I had my secretary type it up, and she executed them with 2 witnesses. And then after she stated that she hoped she was doing the right thing, that she loved both her children.
At the time of the execution of the will, did you ask her, question her to make sure that she was aware of the fact that she was signing her last will and testament?
Oh yes, she knew.
And at that time, were you present?
Yes, I was.
And were you one of the subscribing witnesses to the will?
Yes, I was.
And was the other witness present?
Yes,
And was that witness also in your presence
yes.
at the same time in which the decedent signed the will?
Right, the 3 of us were in the office, and I asked her, this is what she wanted. And after all that, after the signing, that's when she informed me that she was just hoping she was doing the right thing, that she loved both her children.
All right. I have no further questions.
Mr. Flanagan.
Counselor, how long have you been practicing law?
7 years,
How long have you been drafting wills?
7 years,
All with legal assistance?
that's correct.
And you folks, I understand, do wills for seniors at no charge.
We have a new policy, but back then, yes, we did all wills at no charge for
And
seniors.
did Mary Minkle come in and get her will at no charge
Oh, that's
as
correct.
being a senior?
Anybody over the age of 60, yes.
Is it a practice of yours, Counselor, to go through what someone owns by way of, their real estate and their personal estate?
I just ask them what they have, yeah.
And did she tell you what she had?
Yeah, she said farm and the house.
She had the farm, the house,
House, furniture.
and that was it, right?
I don't remember if she had a car or not. I'd have to look that up.
And then you ask her who her children are.
Right?
Do you get their names and ages?
Names and ages.
And did she tell you that she had her son Charles, who was 45,
I think he was 45.
and lived at home with her?
She did say he lived there, if I remember correctly.
And did she tell you she had a younger child, her daughter, the doctor in Colorado?
She just said she had a daughter in Colorado.
Did she tell you that her daughter in Colorado was a physician?
I think she might have. I asked about after she gave everything to Charles.
Lawyer Everglade, do you have your deposition at hand?
I think so, yes.
I want to make it clear that it wasn't
About
See, I've got to
the,
be careful about this, Counselor. It was the testator, Mary Minkle, who told you that she believed her daughter made $200,000 per year. Isn't that true?
she said that Mary made $200,000 per year.
That's right. The lady, the testator,
Right.
lady
Mary.
who wrote the will, Mary, told
Mary
you that
Minkle.
her daughter made
Betty-
$200,000 per year.
Right.
Yes.
And that is why, and she was worried about Charles's future because he was unemployed.
Okay. I thought I heard you say on direct testimony.
I corrected myself.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was
She
I was-
never reported to you that it was her son's opinion.
No, she never.
She told you that was what her daughter earned.
Right.
There was nothing said to you by Mary Minkle concerning any suicide tendencies or attempts by her son Charles. Is that true?
No, that's true. There's
Nothing whatsoever.
Nothing whatsoever.
Did she come into your office on her own?
Yes, she did.
Her son wasn't present.
Not that I can remember.
A neighbor may have brought her.
Maybe. She was in my office alone.
Would it be fair that you didn't know how she got there?
That'd be a fair statement.
If a family member comes into your office with their parent, for instance, is it your practice to have any discussion with the person who's brought that person?
Usually, no. Our practice is that if it's a will or anything else, we talk with the senior alone unless they are adamant.
Want you to talk with their
Right,
family?
Right. Otherwise, in a will case, even in that case, I wouldn't have a family member in there.
You would not.
No.
So
Not
that's a
until
matter
after it was
of,
all done.
it's your opinion that it's a matter of business between you and Mary Minkle and not her family, not her children.
That's correct.
So had anyone even been there, you would have not talked with them about this will.
No, unless she asked them to give them a copy, and that wasn't the case here.
There's no indication that she asked you to give copies to anyone.
No.
Counselor, you had no question about this lady's competency to execute a will, did you?
Oh, no, she knew what she was doing. She knew her heirs.
She knew the object of her bounty,
That's right.
and she knew what this will did.
She understood, yes.
She said to you and your other witness that I know this gives the farm to my son Charles.
She knows that it gave her estate. I try to explain everything to Charles.
That would be the farm.
Right. Well, personal items also.
And that it definitely excluded the doctor.
Her daughter.
She was aware of that.
Excluded Betty, yes. She never really referred to her as a doctor.
And she specifically excludes her in the will.
That's correct.
Said she didn't forget about her daughter.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Counselor, this will was drafted approximately 2 months before the death of Mary Minkle, is that correct?
Yes.
And if this will had not been prepared, in your expert opinion as an attorney, how would this estate have been distributed?
No, if she only had the two children she informed us of, it would be split between the two children since her husband was deceased.
So that would be according to the laws of intestacy of the state of Michigan?
That's correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
You may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this time, Your Honor, the complainant rests.
Mr. Flanagan.
I see our scorekeeper hasn't provided for a second recess,
Would you like
but
a
I'd
recess,
ask the
Mr.
court for a
Flanagan?
short recess,
We'll
yes.
take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you, Judge.